Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you how you can install eNSP software on your operating system. No matter if you're running Apple OS or if you're running Windows 11, you can install the eNSP software. But in order to do that, first you need to do is you have to install Windows 10 on your operating system. You can achieve that goal by installing a virtual machine by using ObjectBox. So I think a lot of you people were having the problem of installing eNSP software. So I think in this video, I will try my best to resolve the issue. So first thing you need to do is you have to come to this website and you have to download VirtualBox. And mind you to download the latest version of it, 7.1.6. Now, a lot of you people who are having a MacBook, I'm pretty sure it's a Silicon Mac with the M chips, so you have to download this one. But if you're running an Intel Mac, just like me, you can download the first one. But since a lot of you people are already running Windows 11, you can download the Windows first version. So once you're done, what you can do is you can try to download the Windows 10 ISO image. You can download it directly from coming to the official website and try to create a Windows 10 ISO. So if you're on a MacBook, it's a bit different. You can select the ISO, the version of Windows, and there you can generate an ISO image of your own. But if you're on a Windows, it's a bit different. What you have to do is you have to first download some kind of a patch or some kind of like a package manager, and it generates an ISO file for you, which is a bit daunting. But what I've done is if you come to I have provided you a link in the description. So upon opening that link, it is a link to my G drive. So here I have put the Windows 10 ISO image. You can download it from there. So once everything is done, you can open your VirtualBox and just try to create a new virtual machine using the ISO image. Now the important thing is to remember what you name your operating system. I'm going to call this thing Windows 10, and then you have to select the ISO image, which in my case is in the downloads folder. Here, what I'm going to do is check this box called skip unintended installation. What it will do is I can manually set the Windows up, because if I don't select this option, what the object box will do, it will set the Windows for me defaultly. But if I check this box, I can manually try to tweak everything. But I think in my case, what I care about is the base memory, the hard disk space. So right now it is providing, by default, it is providing me at least 2 GB of RAM, which is I think not enough. So you need at least 4 gigs of RAM. But I think in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give at least 8 GB of RAM. So if I do some math, 4 GB of RAM is 4096 multiplied by 2 is going to be 8192 MBs. So I'm going to give it this number. So that's 8 GB of RAM. So I remember there was someone in, I think, G1 or G2, I don't remember exactly, but there was one individual having problem with their virtual machine while running Windows 10. It was giving an error, something like not enough memory. So in order to resolve that, what you need to do is you have to give it more memory. So if your computer have more memory, try to give it as much as possible. And I'm going to give it 2 cores, which I think is going to be enough. Other than that, the hard disk space by default is going to be 50 gigs, but I don't need that much space. What I can do is I can still give it 35, and I think it will still do the trick because I'm only going to install the eNSP software on this virtual machine. So since I have limited space on my machine as well, I'm going to keep it as minimum as possible. And in the disk image, you can select VHD, the hard drive image. So once everything is selected, what you can do is you can finish. But first it is telling me there's something wrong with the name. So in this case, like Windows 10 has already been used, so I'm just going to call it Windows and finish the process. One more thing I have to do is if I come to the processor, make sure enable nested-hw-virt /x / AMD-V is enabled. Now, by default, this option is inaccessible. So in order to do that, I think the process is pretty much the same for both operating systems, whether you're on a MacBook or if you're on a Windows. So what this option will do is try to enable the virtualization, which is going to be necessary for later, which is going to be less necessary later on when you are running Windows. So in order to enable this option on a MacBook, and I think it's also pretty much same in the Windows as well, all you have to do is you have to navigate to the folder where your VirtualBox is installed. By default, it is Program Files Oracle VirtualBox, and there you can open a command prompt and try to run the command. But in Mac, you can access it from anywhere. So the command you're going to be used is called this one, VboxManage, modifyvm, and then your virtual machine name. In this case, since I name it Windows, I'm going to give it the Windows name, nested-hw-virt on. Now upon pressing the enter, you can see right now this is disabled. But if I turn it on, you see this option is checked now, and I can check and uncheck it. But I'm going to keep it checked and press OK. Finally, I'm going to start the Windows. Mind you, it is going to install the Windows first. It is not going to start Windows 10 exactly. First, it is going to install the Windows 10 on the current virtual machine you have made. And then from there, we can set the Windows. And once it is done, we will install eNSP software. But right now, we are trying to set up the Windows itself. I know it's a problem, the screen size is the problem, but we have to somehow manage it. I'm going to be showing you how you can fully resize it, but for now, like, the setup is pretty much straightforward. Here you have to go with I don't have a product key, and here I'm going to select Windows 10 Pro. You can accept the license and then just select that OneDrive you have over there, and it's going to install the Windows. Now I'll be fast forwarding this bit because I think I'm not going to waste your time. Okay, so after what looked like an eternity, it is finally letting me set up the Windows now. Okay, so we can set it up as a personal account, and this thing is important because what we'll be doing is we won't be using our Microsoft account, but what we will be doing is we will need an offline account. Now this is not relevant, but in order to keep your account protected, and you can just go with an offline account. It is not much needed actually, so I will just go with an offline account. I'll be using a limited experience. And now you can finally name your PC. You can name whatever you want. Okay, so finally the Windows 10 has been installed in the virtual machine. Now the whole process took me 45 minutes, but for you it can be more or less. But the important thing is to be patient and let it do its job. Now first thing I want to fix is some of the optimization settings. It is still lagging, and the other thing is I want to make the screen bigger. Even if I extend or try to maximize the screen, it is still not going to maximize the screen for me entirely. So what you have to do for that is, in a MacBook, I'm going to follow the MacBook procedure, but I think in the Windows it's the same. All you have to do is you have to come here to devices and insert guest addition CD image. So once that is done, you can open the folder down there, navigate to this PC, and here you will have a new VirtualBox guest additions. Upon opening it, I know it's a bit hard to see, but you have to check, or you have to open the first application that reads like VBox Windows Editions. You have to run this thing as an administrator. Now I can come to view, and I will just choose the scale mode, and now I can scale the windows. As you can see, it is fully resized and properly usable. Now the other thing I can do before jumping in to install the eNSP software is I can still optimize a little more. All I can do is come to this PC again, right click on it and go to properties. Here I can choose advanced system settings, and in the visual effects, process scheduling, memory usage, I can select this one and just choose the best performance one. It will uncheck all these boxes and it will make the windows a little more smoother. One more thing I can do is try to increase the visual or the video memory. Because currently it is set to 128 MB, I want to at least set it to 256. By coming to settings here, display, and try 256. It is not letting me, but if I try to tweak it from here, I think I still can raise it all the way to 256, which is still going to help. Now in the next part, what we are going to do is finally install the eNSP software